G'day guys, it's Ben again, here to bring you another video, and this one is going to be looking at a waterer for my chickens. So, as I'm sure you're aware, chickens need a lot of water. Chickens can go through easily 300 millilitres of water a day per chicken, and obviously in warmer, more humid environments such as this in Queensland, you'll find that they'll go through more. So, and it can be influenced by their diet and all sorts of other factors as well. To alleviate the problems created by Rhode. So in my previous chicken coop I'd used this type of chicken waterer and they are useless, absolutely useless. Chickens have a natural behaviour of scratching, and as they scratch all sorts of stuff gets into these things and you end up spending a lot of your time just cleaning these out and wasting water. And it's a real shame. So I hate pretty much wasting anything, and so what I had done with my research is that I found this time around I was going to put in an automatic waterer. I looked around and I wanted something that was going to be good and hold enough water for my chickens for about a week. If not 10 days, but not be like so enormous that it meant that I couldn't move the chicken coop around. Ideally, I'm going to put wheels on this thing and be able to move it around the garden in this particular residence. I'll expand it hopefully next year when I move into my own home, but for now that's the plan. So, so what I did is I built onto the chicken coop a frame to support this particular barrel. This is a 60 litre plastic barrel. It cost me like $15, which is just about nothing at all. That's obviously second hand, so it does need to get washed out, but I'm led to believe that the contents were food grade. So I'll leave it out in a couple of rainstorms and that'll be more than sufficient to wash it out, and we'll see how that goes from there. Basically what's going to happen is I'll be connecting some pipe from the bottom of this barrel using one of those connectors for water tanks. This will go down into the main coop itself, so the chickens have access to water 24 hours a day. That pipe will then lead down, as you can see. This is partly my dry assembly. It'll lead down. There'll be one waterer in this section underneath the main coop, and then there'll be 3 waterers available for them in the chicken tractor or the chicken run. So all made out of 50mm PVC, and I'm using these things, and I find these really effective. This is basically like a cup. You buy them from a company called Chook. So these are an Australian design. It's been painted, so it's pretty good. And what happens is the chickens just peck on it, and that yellow float lifts up. I don't know if you can see, but that'll open up space so the water then enters this cup, and the chickens can get access to fresh water. And all you do is you drill a small hole into PVC pipe, and they provide you, or you can buy off them, a small attachment to drill in the knurling, I think it's called, so that you can essentially screw these in place, and that's all good to go. So that's my plan. Pretty simple. This water tank I'm intending to feed from guttering, which will come down the side here. So 6 metres of guttering, essentially. Yeah, pretty much 6 metres of guttering, and that will then come down and into the water tank. So that should, obviously when it rains, provide me with heaps of water and maintain this at a good level. Queensland does get a lot of water, although we're well below the average this year, 2016, and we're like 800 millilitres less rainfall than we had last year. It's a real shame. So I'm hoping that that sort of evens out a bit. We'll see. So let's see how we go. Righto guys, so the first thing that we're going to look at when we are planning our chicken watering system is we need to look at how much water the chicken's going to use in a day. So we need to think, okay, in this case we're looking at a flock of minimum 8 chickens. Ideally I want to be able to punch out to around about 15, so it does need to hold a fair bit of water. I then need to be able to look at So how much water, multiply that by the number of chickens, and then across the number of days if possible. 60 litres should go a fair way to covering that, and I'll do a little bit more detail on that in a little while. This whole section on the top is the chicken coop itself. This is where the chickens will be sleeping at night. I need to make sure they've got water 24/7. So I'm going to be putting in some drinking cups in here very shortly. The next thing that we've got is the one drinker below, and I've done that in my dry assembly, and then we'll be pushing out to that in the main sort of run area, and we'll be putting in some more drinker cups in there. So once you're happy with your dry assembly, because obviously the water needs to flow quite easily between where you're storing it through to where the chickens need to get it from. So once you've done that, then you need to start gluing the pipes and the fittings in together, and then you need to start putting in these the drinking cups and so on. So let's get into that. Alrighty, so here's the chicken coop itself, and I'm going to put 3 drinking cups in here. The tricky part with these drinking cups is you need to make sure they're all in the same direction. So if one's slightly skew with, it might end up leaking water from there. Whilst that's not necessarily a major deal in the first instance, it can become really frustrating, and you can end up losing a lot of water over time. So best to get it right first time, because as I say, once you've done all the gluing and stuff, it's really difficult to undo it. So okay, I want to space these pretty much equally. And as I say, the chickens do need to be able to get into this, so there we go. I'm not going to glue anything down yet, because at the moment I'm thinking this is probably a bit too high, so I'll end up cutting a little bit off here. That's fine, I don't mind playing around with it. I want to get it right. As I say, I really don't want to be fiddling with this, especially once you've got those sidewalls in. This is going to be a bit complicated to get into, so it's really important to make sure you got it right. So I'm just using the installation kit that you get from Chook. It is a couple of extra dollars, and it's a little bit frustrating, but that you have to buy it. But it's better to install these things properly than get frustrated with them. You probably could use some silicone on this stuff if you really wanted to. I don't think it's necessary. Be aware of cheap imitations of these things as well, guys. I have seen some cheapo ones of these, and I don't think they're as good. When you think about what chickens can give you, and the fact that these things, that once you've got them, you know, in properly, they're not exactly going to go out of date or anything. So providing you don't get anything crazy going on, these things should pretty much last you. So that little bit of investment you pay for these things, you may as well, because it's going to give you a good return. You know, happy chickens lay lots of eggs and all that. Alright, so the chickens have got plenty of access to water now, and this is the main coop itself. So I've already got one of them down below. Last thing I've got to do is this this one on the side. And that's going to be built with this piece here. Just a point to note, not only have I got these things to attach it to the actual uprights on the coop, but I've got this piece here. So this is technically from a water tank, and I suppose the American people that I know would call this a clean out. So this screw-in plug, what that can mean is that I can undo it, and if for any reason I had to, so if I wanted to clean it out or something, and then I can just drain the whole system, and that obviously drains very quickly. So a few extra dollars there of investment. As I say, I think that investment would pay off pretty quick. So just a little tip there for you guys. The next thing I'm just going to do is cut a quick little hole in the side here in this mesh, just to allow myself to feed the pipe through. So there we go. This is the one that I want. Alright, pretty well set up now. Warm day today, I tell you. Alrighty, so pretty much set up now. Alrighty, so the assembly is now done. Just a little bit of gluing it on, this will be good to go. I'm 100% happy with this now. Alrighty guys, all the lubber cups, or the those chicken sort of watering cups, are all now in place. Everything is glued together from the very tip to the very end. The only thing I've got left now is to connect this pipe to the water tank. I'll be going to do that in another video called rainwater harvesting, because that will then get connected to the guttering. That's all fine. That'll be in a couple of weeks' time. But otherwise, for now, really happy with this. This has worked out super well. I hope you guys have got some good tips out of this. I've certainly had a lot of fun. So look, I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Well, thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please press the like button.
If you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, please feel free to share this video with Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn.
Please leave a comment below. We're looking forward to seeing you in our next video. Until then, keep safe.